Hey guys, how's it going? Jason here again. Last time on the Scimitar, I wrapped up that electric power steering. I still haven't put it back in yet, but this time I'm going to do a little wiring. A bird just dropped something on the roof. Yeah, I'm going to do a little wiring here, and I'll see what I can follow through with. Yeah, I've got a lot of things I want to wrap up as well, so I'm going to try and do these all at once. I do have the split charge to wire up. I do have the cables run for it, and anyway, we'll get started. Okay, we're back. So this is my split charge. All this does is basically it's a switch and relay. So when this relay detects charge coming from the alternator, it closes the relay and puts charge to the battery in the back here. Happy day, that'll charge my hydro battery. To get the power to there, I have ran the cable that came with it through the bulkhead here, nice and tight. Comes around here and it ends up here. So this will go on to my battery. My alternator, for some reason it's a 75 amp alternator, but there's only these wee dicky feeds coming from it. So I have a B plus here. So I'll put a cable onto this, draw it across, and then it ends up over here as well. Here. So this is going to go onto my battery terminal as well. So that will put more charge into the batteries. I then have all these cables around here to power ignition lives in the bay that I want to do. Basically that will be my secondary fan, my power steering pump, and I might even wire up a new starter wire, because looking around here I was trying to figure out how this starter actually worked. And yeah, so one of these wires might potentially be for my starter, because, well, it works at the minute, right? But the wiring here is awful, right? So this goes through this relay. It's been soldered on here in some fashion, and I imagine what this relay was for. This goes probably to my automatic gearbox, and it basically tells the car when the car's, or tells the relay when the car is not in park or neutral, and that will stop power going to the starter motor. And someone did this very crude soldering job here and put this bit of blue wire on, and it goes down there and just goes straight onto the starter motor. So yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I might actually just replace that. There's this wire here, I don't know what it does yet. I haven't got that far. This wire here would have been the original starter motor wire, I think. It down there, it's all cracked. But yeah. And then someone has here fitted this secondary fan. It's just tapped into this original fan wiring down here with a load of insulating tape. So I just want to kind of tidy everything up and pretty much sort this out. And then on the inside, I'm going to put a couple of switches here. Probably one here and probably one here. And one will be for my fan and the other one will be for my power steering. I'm trying to put 3 in, and I might put my starter there as well, but I'm not sure yet. So this wire here then, it's going to be for my split charge relay, which is going to charge the hydro battery. That's going to be mounted on a plate back here. I'm going to make another plate matching the same as this here one. It's going to bolt on here, and then we'll have about a 6-way fuse box, and then there'll be a relay powering that fuse box. The live for the relay will come from the battery side of the split charge relay, and then there'll be an ignition live coming from the dashboard somewhere to that. That means my wiring will be completely independent from most of the car's wiring, and that means I can fault find what I've done anyway instead of all this. Another thing is, yes, we're going to come up here. Obviously we're going to put switches on the dash to control things, hopefully. And yeah, I'm just gonna, I can't do my fuse box or anything yet. I have run some wires. I've run these wires here. There's probably too many here for what I'm going to be doing, but I just hope the gauge is going to be thick enough. Not really powering anything too powerful. I think I might, if I am going to do the starter motor, we'll put it through a relay and that'll be alright. That fan motor, I don't think it even has a big feed to it. Here's that fan. The wiring's not overly thick on it either. So there's a good bit of wiring to do here. I don't have a great deal of time. I don't have a great deal of will to actually want to do this wiring. Well, I pulled this all out, and it pretty much is the starter wires. If you look, I ended up cutting it because it just didn't really care anymore. Because look at this, the wire is so old and brittle that it's just been laying there for so long. Like, it wasn't connected to anything anyway. Right, so we don't have a starter wire now, but we can do that again. I've no real reason why I can't just put this straight onto the starter now. It should be on the ignition auxiliary 2. It should only come in when you turn the key. I need to find out what this does, so that's my next protocol. I don't know if it just goes to my battery terminal or what, but it needs to go somewhere. So the bits and pieces I've ordered have arrived here for this here. So I now have my fuse box, and I've ordered a box of relays because I have a box of these, but I don't know where they are, or I've used them on one or two. So pretty much this is going to be like this setup, and that's going to go in the same place as the other one, only on the other side. We have 6 power outlets here, so this is going to be pretty efficient for what I want to do. I might even so first of all, I have mounted my new fuel pump here because I was having a wee bit of issues with that old one, and I just wanted a new one in here just for peace of mind more than anything. So I've mounted this fuel pump here, but the feed for this here before was just tapped off the back of the coil, and I don't really like that, so that's why I'm going to feed a separate one down for the fuel pump. I'm going to feed a separate one down for this fan, a separate one down for the power steering pump, and then we've got 3 leftovers for future, or if something happens in this engine bay that I can't get something working, we have 3 power feeds to tap in and send it. So I'm just going to leave these 3 wires that I'm not using. I'm going to coil them up, tuck them in somewhere tidy, and that means in the future if I do need them, they're there. And if we ever get around to diesel swapping this here, one of them could be our feed for our solenoid. But anyway, I'm going to get cracked on with that because, well, it needs done. And there's not going to be really much you can watch me doing this here, so I'm just going to get blasted on, get these all mounted up, start on the wiring, get the power feeds and everything run for the relay and stuff like that there, get this all pre-wired to a certain degree, and then we'll get it in the car and we can go from there. Lovely. Well, I've been taking away at this wiring here, and I think I've got a bit of... I've been taking away at this wiring, and I've got all the wires routed now, and I'll show you this. So, this is our matching plate to this one over here. We have them screwed on now. My split charge relay is wired up. My fuse box is sitting here, and I do have all my feeds coming out of the fuse box to behind the dash here. We have basically 6 wires here, which are ignition live, that we've got to play with. This here has to be to ignition live of the car to turn these ignition lights on. We have, what else we got? This wire here, it was just dangled about in here, but this is an ignition live. I imagine this is the wire for the stereo, so I'm going to use this to tap into here, so that'll bring these all live. Another thing that we need to do, well, it won't come live actually until I put fuses in, but you know what I mean. The split charge is all wired up. Instead of going to the battery terminals, I actually just went to the pump because it's just right behind there. It means I can bring my battery leads out and put a different battery on outside of that hole if that battery starts playing up. So there's a negative wire coming off that there, and it goes to the chassis. It all seems to work. You can override the relay as well by holding it in like that. Really blue light should come on. There you go. That means you can kind of jump your car using the rear battery, and I was going to put an isolator in for that there, but it's nice that I can manually override it. Fuse box is nice and tidy, wiring's all nice and tidy, all just travels up along the center console, or under the center console here, and up and then back into here. So I also have made this. So this is going to sit in there. So we're going to have one for our fuel pump, one for our secondary fan, and one for our power steering pump. That means we've got 3 left to play with. I don't need them right now, so I'm not going to put fuses in. I'm just going to leave the wires coiled up, put them in there, and if we need them at a future time, we have them sitting there. I imagine we are going to need them later on down the line, but for now I don't really have a need for them. I could mess about here and put a wire on for the coil and put a wire on for the starter and have a starter button and everything, but I don't see the point of that right now. But if we do decide to do something later down the line, we can use those wires for that sort of carry on. So I'm going to get these wires all linked up now. I know it looks like a spaghetti junction here, but there's not really a whole lot going on. And then we'll get this in, and she'll be, well, she won't be mint because I haven't done anything in the engine bay yet. So let's just get this done. So these are all wired up now, and you can see, turn my ignition on. We have this one here is my power steering pump. So this one here is my extra fan, and this one here, why is that thing on? Interesting. Oh, there it goes. And then this one here is my fuel pump. Probably didn't need a switch for the fuel pump, or this one. I could have wired this one into the old one like the previous owner, but I thought it was a nicer job. I haven't actually done the rest yet. I've just kind of looped around this here for the lights just to show you it working. And then the actual car starts lovely now. Oh, fuel pump. Now I'll bring it around to the front here and show you what I've been at. So I have the fans all wired in, all the wiring comes around. The rest of those extra 3 wires are just tucked into this sleeving. Comes around here. I need to put a bit of trunking in this stuff. And then that one there, apparently I haven't put the nut on it yet, but we're going to do that soon. Right, what I want to do now is do some amp tests to find out what size of fuses are meant to be running. I bought a DC clamp meter so I can see what load is taken. So turn that on there, turn the light on. Right, so off load it's doing 8 amps, and I'll just put it there like that. I've already done this here, but I'll show you anyway. I don't know if you can see the screen. So I'm pretty sure it draws 25 amps or 25-ish amps when it's on, like on low, but when you go full lock it draws about 42, but I'm not going to hold it a full lock a lot, so I'm going to put a 40 amp fuse in, and hopefully that'll be protected enough. So I've got my fuel pump, I do have the power steering pump back in obviously, and my leak I had appears to be fixed. So I'm quite happy with all this here. The fuel pump works well, it draws 5 amps. I'll leave a 10 amp fuse in that there as well. The fan draws 5 amps apparently, so it'll be okay with a 10 amp fuse. And I actually think they draw like 5.6 and this draws 5.9, so a 10 amp fuse is going to be okay. I did just put a wee loop wire in here for the starter motor for now to get it running. Basically all that original wiring's gone, so I'll just remember to keep it in park when I'm starting it. My other battery was kind of flat from cranking it for a while, so I've got that battery just sitting there. Does seem to charge quite well. The alternator seems to get quite hot, but hopefully that's okay. But yeah, another thing I got was this electronic ignition kit, Aki Spark, so I'm going to put that in. I don't know when I'm going to be out there, probably not today. I've got a few other things done as well when I was in between that there. Got the brakes blade, wee fella comes round, helps me out the odd time, blade the brakes. Shift links is already done, split pins in the wheels, did that, and fixed the fuel leak. All this stuff's already done, so we're getting there. We're getting so close to getting this on the road now. Well, I say so close, there's still a lot of tidying up to do, but for getting it actually mechanically sound, we're nearly there, hopefully. Yeah, so in here is quite messy right now. I kind of feel like I should make a knot out 2 of these plates and put them here and here, and just go ahead and do these switches while I'm here. I might actually do that there. The hazard lights ones is the most concerning because I'm not really 100% sure how this works. I'm going to have to do some tests on the switch. See how just having that, see that it's just an on and off switch really, but there's a lot of contacts in there. There's 4 in the back, sorry, 3 in this one and 2 in this one, so even a standard rocker switch isn't going to have that many contacts, so I need to see what's going on. This one here, I could have one switch for side lights and one switch for main beam, and then sure your full beam's over here anyway. This one here has a few wires as well. I'll figure that out, but yeah, just a few things to do. So I'm going to call it quits for this one. There's a lot of stuff going on here that I can't really record or can record, but it takes so long to figure out that if I'm on the camera at the same time, it takes twice as long. So that's why I'm just giving you a brief description of what I'm doing. But here we've pretty much got a whole new fuse box here that's controlled by ignition live, and we've got all controls for these things here, and it's basically pretty much completely separate from the main wiring loom, apart from that one ignition live that turns it on and off. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next one, where hopefully we can get this out for a wee test drive maybe.